What's up, everyone? All right, so we're going to go over the trades from today, sitting here nicely in the green. Now, I'm going to save my Thinkorswim account for a second recap. I did trade in Thinkorswim. I didn't trade TNON, but I did trade in the account, and I'm locking up another green day. Third green day in a row in the Thinkorswim account for the small account challenge, which is great. For my main account, I sat down this morning nice and early. I'm locking up $3,083.04. And the biggest winner, this is kind of interesting, NCNA. This stock right now is up 148%. It peaked at, gosh, must have been 200% earlier today. I mean, this thing was really on fire. And what was kind of interesting about it is that it had this 4 a.m. squeeze. So when I first pulled it up, I saw, and I first pulled up my scans probably around 6, it was like 6:15, 6:30. And I was like, all right, yep, okay, a 4 a.m. squeeze, just like Friday. You know, not this particular one, but several others popped up on Friday at like 4 a.m., 4:35. And most of those popped up and then sold off the rest of the day, right? Let's look at TNON from Friday. It pops up, and what does it do for the rest of the day? It sells off. So I just sort of felt like, 4 a.m. pop, it's probably a broken chart. So I wasn't super excited to come running over to my office, but I got over here around 6:45, and I saw NCNA starting to curl kind of right about here. And at that point, I was like, all right, well, yeah, this is kind of interesting. So it really started to pop up at about 6:55. Now, my first trade on it was at actually 6:58. I took a trade buying at $5.57, which was a pretty nice entry. So got in right about the $0.50 here. And this is a 1 minute chart, or actually a 5 minute chart. If we go into the 10-second chart, you'll get a little bit of a better view of this. Now, whether or not this has more in it today, I'm not sure. I sort of, one of the things I mentioned, and I did not trade this in my my small account. Well, I actually tried to, but I didn't get filled. But one of the issues that I sort of had with this was that I was a little unsure about that pre-market spike. That kind of threw me off a little bit. So anyways, it starts popping up all of a sudden right here. And I was like, all right, well, here we go. So this is where I jumped in right on this pullback. That was my first entry. Goes up to 80, it pulls back, it goes up to 85, pulls back, squeezes up to 6, 620, 640, 680, starts to pull away, and then I added up here for the squeeze higher, and I stopped out of that ad. I was like, gosh darn it. I thought this thing was really starting to go parabolic, and I was starting to get dialed in at, the peak here is my target. So the thing that I kind of neglected to check there was the position of the 200 moving average. So there were a couple of issues on the daily chart, and this trade just happened so fast, I didn't get a chance to do this check. So there was a gap on the daily chart that filled at 725, and the 200 EMA was crossing right here, just around 675 or so, 678. So we had a little bit of resistance in this area, which we still do. Now, if we can get above this line here, then we've got room up to 810, and above 810, then we've got room back up towards 928. Above 928, we look to the left and up, teeny little blip right there, nothing significant, and then this is that next spot. So my problem today was that I sat down, and I'm still under the weather, and sat down pretty quickly, was trying to decide what I was going to trade, and the first stock that I was actually looking at was DRMA. DRMA was gapping up as well and was starting to pull away here at the open. And I say, or not the open, but at 7 a.m. And I say, guys, I don't trust this one. Here's the problem. It's already got 5-6 million shares of volume. It's thickly traded. It's having a hard time pulling away. I'm afraid it's going to dump at 7. And 7 a.m., boom, like clockwork, it started selling off. So I'm glad that I left this one alone. I'll say, though, sort of similarly, it had that 4 a.m. pop and was not able to reclaim those levels. So anyways, NCNA had a little bit more range, which was good. It was moving a little faster, which gave me a little bit more interest. And so I did get a couple nice trades on it, but I also gave back a little bit of my profit, which was kind of annoying. And then it ends up having this kind of rally right here. Didn't trade that, didn't get caught in that flush. Tries to kind of come up again, doesn't work. Right now below VWAP, but then right back above it. So it almost looks like it's kind of trying for a squeeze up. And there might be something else in it, but I think we'd have to agree that this in this area would not be trading the front side of the move. Trading the front side of the move, the first leg higher, that's this area here, certainly this area, and maybe this area here. This is it's just too choppy right now. So although I'm grateful that I got some trades on it, it was not easy. I got myself from 0 on the day to up 2,000. And then what ended up happening was I added back right up here and lost 2,400. I went red 2,000. I went from green 2,000 to red $300. Then I got in this area for the ABCD pattern break of 744, and the squeeze up to 8, and with that I was back into the green. So I recovered nicely, and there's that little pop right there, kind of trying. But see, this is the problem. You look at the level 2 on this, it pops up, but then it flushes down. You've got that topping tail. So it just shows that it's so easy to get trapped on the wrong side of that move, and then you're stuck. Anyways, so I found this to be kind of choppy, not super easy to trade. Got green, went red, made back to green, and was like, you know what? Don't overstay your welcome. That was a little bit of too much of a close call for a Monday morning, especially after a choppy week last week. So after my trades on NCNA, the next trade that I took, let's see, I didn't trade for a little bit. I was sort of staying tight. And then I take a trade on VRAX. So basically that was like 7 to 7:30, my first trades. And then 7:30, there was nothing clean that looked good. 8, nothing clean. 8:30, nothing clean. And then coming up at 8:55, we had VRAX. So VRAX was sort of interesting because this one sort of popped right up here. Then it starts to pull away up to 350, pulls back, goes up to 375, up to 4. And I finally broke the ice on it, and I tried to do a dip right down here. I thought it bottomed here, and then it came down to double bottom, so I got in right here and ended up stopping out. But I only lost $328, which was not bad. I kept my stop tight on it, but I did go red on that trade. And then I had OBLG. This one hit my scans, and after I had missed BBLG I missed simply because, well, I saw that it was popping up, but I didn't see news, so I didn't trade it. It ends up going up this much. VRAX, it pops up. I'm not totally sure about it. It ends up making a really nice move. So OBLG hits the scans. I'm like, all right, I'm jumping in this one. And guess what happens? It rejects. So that was annoying. The two I didn't trade end up going. The one that I do trade ends up rejecting. So caught a rejection on that, got in for the break of 6 right up here, is squeezes up to a high of 637 and then flushes all the way down here to 527, which is gross. So lost $768 on that. And at that point, I had peaked at 3,000 on the day. I then gave back 1,000, so I'm up 2,000 on the day. And then I got the trades on TNON, WHLR, and one additional trade on NCNA. So TNON, this one, of course, we talked about it quite a bit on Friday because it had that crazy move. I traded it this morning. It was sort of doing this ABCD pattern. I tried trading it right here for the curl up to VWAP, thinking maybe that would work. A little risky. MACD was against a trade below VWAP. Not my typical setup. Didn't take a lot of risk on it. It did end up working for $268, but not a big winner. So a little risky there. Probably shouldn't have taken the risk on it. WHLR, this one, took a trade at the open as it pulled away through 7. We got a squeeze here up to 750. It pulled back. Now it's coming back up. Just a little technical breakout there on that one. It might still go higher. It's holding up relatively well, but was just sort of trying to trade the volatility. So a small little trade on that. But what's interesting is NCNA is our leading percentage gainer on the day. And what stock am I up on the most on? The leading percentage gainer. WHLR, it's up 35%. TNON, I don't even know. VRAX, where is it? I don't know. It pulled back quite a bit. OBLG, that one pulled back too. So, some of these at the time felt like maybe they had the potential to become the leading gainer, leading gapper, but then they didn't hold. WHLR's holding, I guess, relatively well here. But nonetheless, I think it goes to show that focusing on the leading gainer is usually going to pay the best. BBLG, this was just an issue where initially I thought, oh, maybe I should trade it in the small account because it's a cheap stock. And then I was like, well, but it doesn't have news. I don't know. I could take 10,000 shares, but then next thing you know, I could lose 15 cents. That would be a big loss in the small account. Maybe I shouldn't. And then it just kind of next thing you know, it's like 180. And I'm like, wow, I can't trade it up here. And most of the stocks that are hitting the scanners right now, ISPC, FTEL, these have lighter volume. OMIC, they're popping up, but they're not really tradable. There was one, what was it? NNOV and NVVV. Oh, I can't remember it. Anyways, there was one that was halted on Friday, and it was halted on T12 because it made this really sort of big move. I like seeing WHLR continuing higher, but I think I'm at a point here in the day where it's 10:15, and of course that's not like late in the day by any means, but at the same time, let's just sort of big picture. Where am I at on the day? Have I got myself a cushion? Yeah, $3,000. Okay, I can size up. Have I got my daily goal? No, not yet. Not really even. I mean, well, $5,000. I guess I'm halfway there. But does it feel clean? Are things moving? Is it nice action? No, not really. It's pretty choppy. We're seeing things pop up, but then we're seeing things flush. Some nasty rejections. Is this the day to push it? I don't think so. No, I think if I was going to give you an honest take, I would say today's not the day to push it. I should be more conservative. In fact, I should probably take this $3,000 off the table before I give it back, because it wouldn't take much to lose 1,500 and lose another 1,500. Something like WHLR, you jump in that for the break of 8. Next thing you know, it flushes 30 cents. Well, that's one loss. You do it again. I don't know. It could happen pretty quickly. So I hope that something does end up becoming obvious and pulling away today, but it feels like, a lot of these stocks, TNON was weak on Friday. It's pulling back again right now. VRAX, this one popped up, but look at how much it sold off. Almost a full round trip, really. OBLG was choppy. Maybe today's just not the day to push it. It's not the day to take a lot of risk. If there were ever a day to take some risk and be aggressive, it wouldn't be today. So, I could probably push it a little harder here and maybe I'd get a little bit more for it. But at the same time, it's the beginning of the week. I didn't start last week off very well. So I'd like this week to be a little bit of a better starting point. And although it's not a daily goal, it is a green day nonetheless. So that's kind of, my thinking right here. I had said a few minutes ago, I was like, I'm just going to kind of lay low. If something becomes obvious and is really clean, I'll step up. I'll come back and I'll take some trades on it. But I'm just concerned that continuation's not going to work well, and we really would need something with some fresh news, and WHLR doesn't have it. So, I'm going to be a little cautious today. But one of the things I always say is you're doing one of two things. You're either giving back profit or you're leaving money on the table. So today, maybe I'm leaving some money on the table. But I don't mind doing that so much when I know I'm walking away with some money in my pocket. It always feels better when you have some money in your pocket. So any day you can lock up a little bit of profit, not overstay your welcome, is a good day. It's easy to beat yourself up in hindsight. You come back and you're like, oh my gosh, this stock ended up going up 300% after I, called it a day. I should have stayed, But in the moment, you never know how much something's going to go. And so, one in the hand is better than two in the bush, so to speak. And I think that today is going to be one of those days where I'm going to be grateful for what I've got and not overstay my welcome. So I will be doing a small account challenge recap. That's going to come later this afternoon. And for those of you guys who have not already checked out a 2-week trial at Warrior Trading, there'll be a link pinned at the top of the comments and a link in the description. And there will also be a link there where you can check out my free class. There's a free class that will teach you about my strategy, how I trade, how I find stocks to trade, where I get in, where I get out, and everything else. So make sure you guys check out those 2 links. It'll be pinned in the description of this episode. And I'll be live streaming bright and early tomorrow morning. So those of you guys who do a trial, you'll be able to tune in and listen to my broadcast and see the chat room and use the scanners and the charts and everything else. And hopefully we have, some more opportunities tomorrow. But, at the end of the day, $3,000, $3,400, that's not bad for a couple hours of trading, right? NCNA was the most obvious stock that most closely matched the profile for being the right stock to trade. In fact, it's the stock that gave me all of my profits today. These other four in total gave me losses of about $400. But I don't regret trading them. I mean, some of them were better than others, but I don't regret it just because you have to step up to the plate. You've got to take some risk, and sometimes you got to try to break the ice and see if you're going to have another stock that's going to give you a little bit of a cushion. And if it does, then you're grateful that you started, to trade it early on before it was too extended. But as it turned out today, none of those other stocks that I was looking at ended up really becoming super obvious. All right, so that's going to be it for me, but make sure you guys stay tuned to the recap on Thinkorswim coming later this afternoon. And if you want to make sure you're one of the first people to watch it, you could subscribe to the channel and hit that little alert notification bell. That way you'll get the notification when the new upload goes live. All right, thanks as always for tuning in. I'll remind you guys, as always, trading is risky. My results aren't typical, so manage your risk, take it slow. I'll see you guys back here bright and early tomorrow morning.